It has often been remarked by those of a sedentary disposition that the life of a chronicler is one of quiet contemplation and ink-stained fingers. However, as I sit by the fire in Hogglestone, I find myself looking across at my companion and marvelling at the sheer inaccuracy of that statement. Across from me, stretched out upon a rug of woven sheep's wool, lies Hoggle. To the casual observer, the goblin boy or the passing magpie, Hoggle was a ginger tabby of somewhat robust proportions and a decidedly haughty tilt to his ears. But I knew better. I had seen him in the pale light of the moon, adjusting the miniature leather harness that crisscrossed his orange shoulders. Hoggle was not merely a cat, he was a ranger of the mossy marches, and I, his humble biographer, was about to be dragged into yet another of his singular excursions. The adventure began on a Tuesday, a day I had intended to spend cataloguing my collection of dried tobacco leaves. Hoggle had been sitting on the window sill, his tail twitching in a rhythmic, telegraphic code that spoke of deep metaphysical agitation. "Henwood," he said with a sharp meow, "the fabric of the firmament has been frayed." He leapt from the sill with a grace that defied his fondness for heavy cream and trotted toward the potting shed. I followed, for one does not simply ignore a ranger of the marches when he is in his professional kit. The mossy marches lay just beyond the garden wall, a humid emerald wilderness where the ferns hummed in a low C sharp and the toads practised ancient divination. To a human it was a neglected corner of the estate. To Hoggle and fey folk such as myself, it was a frontier where the physical world bled into the ethereal. As we stepped into the high grass, the air didn't just cool, it shimmered. Hoggle paused, his whiskers vibrating with the intensity of a tuning fork. He reached into a small silken pouch attached to his harness and withdrew a pinch of crushed dragonglass, tossing it into the breeze. The dust didn't just fall, it hung in the air, outlining a trail of jagged, violet footprints. "Avoid, Stalker," I whispered, my heart hammering against my ribs. Hoggle gave a grim, feline nod. He was tracking a creature made of unlight, a predator from the spaces between the stars, and I knew exactly what he had taken. The Aurelian Kronos bell. It had been vanished from the sundial altar. It was a chime forged from solidified noonday sun. If rung by a creature of the void, it could freeze the marches in a state of eternal, freezing twilight. We tracked the violet prints deep into the whispering grotto. There, suspended in the air amidst a swirl of dark oily smoke, was the Stalker. It looked like a tear in reality, shaped roughly like a spindly man, its fingers long as willow branches, clutching the glowing golden bell. The artifact pulsed with a warmth that felt like a summer afternoon, a stark contrast to the biting chill the Stalker radiated. "Halt, shadow fiend!" I cried, brandishing my walking stick, which was in fact carved from the wood of a lightning-struck rowan tree. The Stalker turned, its face a featureless mask of shifting nebula. It raised a Kronos bell, ready to strike the clapper and plunge our world into darkness. But Hoggle was already in his ranger trance. He didn't hiss. Rangers are above such displays. Instead, he touched a small amber charm on his collar. Suddenly, his ginger fur began to glow with a fierce light. He was no longer just a cat. He was a pillar of golden flame. The Stalker recoiled, the void matter of its body sizzling at the edges. Hoggle launched himself, not at the creature, but at the air around it. He performed a mid-air twist that ignored several fundamental laws of Newtonian physics. His sword, etched with the sigil of the Sun King, slicing through the Stalker's smoky grip. The Kronos bell fell. With a cry that sounded like 1,000 cracked mirrors, the stalker lunged for the falling artifact. But Hoggle was faster. He batted the bell toward me with a paw that moved like a blur. I caught the golden object, its warmth flooding through my palms and instantly dispelling the creeping frost in the air. Defeated by the pure, concentrated glow of the hearth emanating from the ranger, the void stalker dissolved into a cloud of harmless soot and drifted away on the evening breeze. The marches were secure once more. The sun, which had begun to dim, flared back to its rightful brilliance. We made our way back to the garden gate. Hoggle paused at the threshold of our home, meticulously grooming a patch of soot from his left flank. The transition was instantaneous. The fierce, glowing range of the marches vanished, replaced once more by a cosy tabby. "A most productive afternoon, Hoggle," I remarked, placing the Chronos bell back upon the sundial. He looked up at me, his eyes wide and innocent, and offered the following observation. "The preservation of the space-time continuum is hungry work, Henwood. I believe I should like the tuna with the parsley garnish." I sighed, reached for the tuna, and began to draft this account. For though the world may see only a ginger cat dozing in the sun, I know that as long as Hoggle patrols the mossy marches, the stars will stay in the heavens and the tea remain hot in the pot.